Afternoon, everyone. This is 77th coming at you guys again with another video. Um, as you can see here, the title here is Neurodivergent or just Shadow NE. And I titled this video this because I've been hearing a lot about ADHD, neurodivergence, and I thought about it a lot and thought about it along with what I know with the MBTI, and I thought about it and thought about it, and you know, a lot of the issues that people have with ADHD are lined up with some of the shadow functions of the INFJ. What do I mean by that? As we can see here, I have the ego and the shadow of the INFJ here. Um, those of us that know about the MBTI, they know what the stack is. If not, you can go and research it or check out some of my other videos about the MBTI and things of that nature, um, as well as ADHD. This isn't going to necessarily be an educational or I should say a in-depth educational, I guess, viewpoint of what ADHD is. It's just going to be more about the correlation with the symptoms with the MBTI shadow functions, or these certain shadow functions that I'm going to be talking about. So, but I'll go over some of the symptoms. Um, ADHD. Um, a lot of the issues with ADHD. It's a well, it's an attention deficit disorder. And people have issues with time blindness. They have issues with executive dysfunctions. They have issues with task multiplying. They have issues with thinking in spirals. And and certain things of that nature. So, but I'm gonna go over them later on. But here I want to talk about more of the shadow functions of the INFJ because the INFJ is said to be one of the personality types that have these functions or display these functions a lot. So, like for example, here I'm gonna go over the shadow functions here of the INFJ. We have NE here, extroverted intuition. We have FI here. We have TE. We have SI. SI is introverted sensing. We have TE, that's extroverted thinking, which is our seventh function, our blind spot function. We have FI, we have introverted feeling, and like I said earlier, we have extroverted intuition. So, like I said before, looking at a lot of the symptoms or issues with ADHD, I looked at them in corresponding to shadow functions or functions themselves. And for example, time blindness, you know, always being late, can't meet deadlines, having issues with deadlines of any kind, you know, you're always late, can't arrive on time or be prompt, things like that. So what is that? You can pretty much say that's shadow SI right there. That's shadow SI. So we also have that. And also difficulty keeping up with the time as well. Not really being aware of what time it is, stuff like that. Um, we have another one. We'll go is, for example, executive dysfunction. When you really want to do something or execute a task, but you just can't. That there's something inside of you that puts it off or says, maybe I'll do it another time or something to that effect. So, and what that is this guy, TE. And in some ways, you could say that's TE and NE working together, but mainly an issue with TE being able to, plan for the future, plan ahead, stuff like that. That's what INFJs will have issues with as far as the seventh function being the blind spot function, as well as any personality type with their seventh function. It's going to be their blind spot. So, I mean, we also have task multiplying. And, like, for example, like if you want to go and clean a table downstairs or something like that, or go, we'll say go clean a table downstairs or something, but then on the way down, you see a dirty clothes hamper and you say, oh, well, these clothes are dirty. Let me go wash these clothes. But then on the way down, you notice something else and you're like, oh, well, I was supposed to take care of paying these bills. Let me take care of paying these bills right here. And then you might say, oh, well, I can't pay the bills because I need stamps. So then you go and get stamps, and then it's a myriad of task switching or multiplying, if you will. So that what is that a culprit of? That is a culprit of shadow NE. Also from jumping from topic to topic to topic in conversation as well. If you're ever talking to an INFJ and you want to kind of see if they have a sign of, what society would call neurodivergence, which really that's really why I'm making this video, because it's not really neurodivergence to me. It's just an INFJ's shadow functions. That's it. And you could also say that it's the shadow functions being upset, if you will, or being tired of being shadow functions, if you want to say that. And they're, I guess you want to say, rising up, tired of being in the shadow, if you will. So that's more my reasoning of making this video, because I feel it's more of this society not understanding that ADHD is not ADHD. It's more of, the INFJ, or you can say the ISTP with their, I think their super ego is the, what is their super ego? I think the INFP, I think. Some of my other MBTI nerds can go and confirm that for me. I think it's the INFP, right? I think so. So, I think it's the ISTP, the INFJ. I think those are two as far as I guess, my study. You said the ISTP as well. You can throw in the ISTP as well, because we got TI, CNI, and FE. And with the neurodivergent tendencies, I believe it's if you have the these three functions mainly. If you have any, well, which I'm going to write out the shadow functions of the ISTP. Oh, messed up. I messed up. So yeah, as you can see, if it's any personality type that has a combination of the any, any, TE, SI, like we have here, of any, SI, TE. If you have this in your shadow, you have a high probability of having ADHD like tendencies. And I'm saying that because I mean that's how society would understand it. But like I said, me personally, that's not how I see it. And that's not how anyone should see it. So, but I'm just saying that, for people to understand. To me, like I said, neurodivergence isn't really a thing. It's just, INFJs and INFJ shadow functions and ISTPs, their ESTJ shadow functions. That's all it is, So, and like I said, if there's another, personality type that has these functions in their shadow, they have a high probability of having ADHD like tendencies as well. So, but these are the two main ones that I found that have them, because like I said, I'm an INFJ and I have these, you know, pers I mean, this is my shadow, the ENFP. So, yeah, in conversation, I can't, in conversation at times, I can't stay on topic. I jump around from topic to topic to topic. But I promise it's always within the confines of, what I'm talking about to a certain extent. But then, and sometimes we forget with SI, like sometimes I forget with SI what that main thing is. But if you remind me, SI, if you remind me, I'll always go back and go back. I'll always go back to the main thing and I'll continue. So that's one thing. Like I said, you know, TE, I just said with NE and SI, I just said two things right there. Um, I have the issue with the TE in the TE bouncing off of NE sometimes when I'm going to go do a task, and like say, for example, I'm going to go and pay a bill, for example, on my way to pay a bill, I'll go, oh, I need to do some laundry. And then while I'm walking to do the gathering clothes to do the laundry, I'll notice a piece of paper and colored pencils because I like to draw. I'll say, oh, I'll be like, oh man, I was supposed to draw that picture earlier. Or maybe I'll draw this picture now and then do that stuff later, and then but I'm better at it now. I'm better at it now. But I'm just saying, like I said, that's kind of how that manifests as well. So, but like I said, with me, I think on the terms of is it neurodivergence or is it just my shadow being my shadow, you know? So that's how I think of it. Like I've seen a lot of videos with a lot of people. that aren't really familiar with the MBTI and talk about it as, oh, neurodivergence this, neurodivergence that, and and I can easily tie it into the MBTI easily. So, and again, this is one of those things I've never heard anybody in the MBTI community say or tie, neurodivergence into anything related to the MBTI or anything. I've never heard it. So, and I'm surprised that, a lot of my INFJs out there that haven't. It's kind of like, it's interesting. So, but I wonder if if they did, if this gets out to anybody at some point, comment, and I'd like to know what your thoughts are on, the whole neurodivergent INFJ shadow, ISTP shadow, you know, the tendencies of the ADHD slash neurodivergence. So, but yeah, let me see, what else do we have? Let me look. Okay, and I got one more. We got thinking in spirals. I think I mentioned that earlier. With our any in the shadow, we think in spirals a lot. And I mentioned that as we jump back and forth through in communication or in conversation. So that's one thing, you know. But I think for time's sake, I think I've covered what I wanted to cover, or the basics of what I wanted to cover. If I have anything else, I will make another video. Absolutely. Because I wanted this video to be short, and I'm at 17 minutes now. So, and that's kind of a little bit over what I wanted to be. I wanted it to be at least 15 minutes or less. Um, yeah, like when I was doing my research, one of the quotes that I heard on one of the videos I saw was the world is built for, well, I'm saying it backwards. I mean, the world is built for neurotypical people. And my interpretation of neurotypical people, if I ever say neurotypical, I mean these type of people. Is that the case 100% of the time? Of course not. But when I hear neurotypical, this is what I hear. And of course, I know neurotypical people means, you know, anybody that thinks in a linear way. Of course, I know that. But like I said, this is just my perspective, and I always call them SENSER. And the reason I call them SENSERS is because a sensor, OR, is like a sensor on a sensor, basically. Like a, like a sensor device or something like that. A device of some sort or a sensor. That is spelled SENSOR. And a sensor in my terms, it's a human, what I'm talking about. So I like to say SENSER for, because it's human. So, but anyway, yes, that seems to be all I have. It seems to be all I have. Um, but yeah, I'd like to know if there's anybody else, what they think. about this. Um, yeah, if so, comment below. I'd love to know. I mean, I'm an INFJ. I love to dig into, the psyche of human beings. Is my thing. It's my drug. I love it. So definitely hit me with your comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And we can bounce some thoughts off of each other back and forth. Bounce some opinions. It'll be great. But other than that, thank you guys. This is 7D Severance signing out. Later.